Hello, and welcome to another episode of Get Your Fill Financial Independence and Long Life, where we discover ways to achieve those two goals and we invite friends on to help us. Today, I can't even believe how lucky I am to be speaking with Jeff Smith. Jeff is the absolute most successful, the number one most successful author in the field of key performance indicators. And how do we really know whether we're doing a good job or not if we have no idea what our KPI is? That's the lingo that we're going to use is KPI. And if you're just starting to tune in, you might want to make sure that you see this, if not now, then later on YouTube, because Jeff is going to be sharing with us some graphics that he uses, and they're going to uncover and reveal to us the secrets to success. The big question that, well, I'm going to tell you in a minute, the big question I'm going to ask Jeff, why aren't we all already wildly successful and wealthy? Jeff knows because he's written 7 international bestsellers on the subject. So, wow. Jeff, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so excited to chat with you and to pick your brain on this.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure, and thank you for inviting me. It's nice that we can talk across the pond. As you can tell by my accent, I'm in England at the end of the day. You're in USA at the beginning of the day. So isn't that wonderful?
It is. It's magic. When you think about the way, we would have had to write a letter and put it on a ship at one point.
Yeah. For those of us who could write.
Chisel it into a stone, perhaps, right? Jeff, I guess let's just start off with the big question that I think everybody on some level wants to know, why am I not already a multi-billionaire, or at least a millionaire?
At least a millionaire or a billionaire. See, there's the secret is really revealed in the way that you ask the question. And I'll come back to that very shortly. So I think people don't know what they want. That's the main thing. And that's what I was referring to in your question when you said, why not are we not already multi-billionaires? Well, or millionaires at least. So there's a lack of clarity in what you want. And the way I discovered this, something happened to me when I was, let me rewind a little and I'll bring you into the story to find out what happened on my journey. I left school. I hated school. I did not go to university. I failed at maths. I failed at English. And here I am, the most successful author in the world on a book about mathematics. How on earth does that happen? And I'm going to share with you how it happened, why it happened, and the things along the way. So you can relate this story to anything at all. But what happened for me? I was very fortunate to have both parents. They're both gone now. But I came from a very loving family, but we had no money. And the first time I realized we had no money, I was 5 years old and at primary school. And the teacher said, "Children, we're going to do a science lesson tomorrow. And I want all of you to bring in some ice cubes. And we'll be doing it first, of course, because we don't want them to melt." So everyone in the class brought in ice cubes apart from me. And the reason I didn't bring any ice cubes in, we didn't have a refrigerator. And then I became aware that other kids had stuff that I didn't have. And I won't say we were poor, because I think poor is a state of mind. We were broke. That's a state of pocket. So that was my first awareness then of money, if you will. I left school, and what I was interested in from about 8 years old was music. I was a keyboard player. So I left school, and my only interest was music. Excuse me a moment. But when I left school, I took an apprenticeship as an engineer. Now, let me put this into context. So it's going back to 1976. So I'm an old guy now. I'm in my 60s, right? So in 1976, I was earning £7.91 a week, which is about $4, right? As an electrician. So I was 16, then 17, and then it was my parents' 25th wedding anniversary, and they had their own party, and that there was a band there with a keyboard player, a guitarist, a drummer, the kind of thing. Well, then there was a song called the Anniversary Waltz, and it was tradition for the band to play this waltz, and then the happy couple would take to the dance floor, do the dance, and then the rest of the room will join them. So the band came for their break, and I went to the band and I said, it's my mum and dad's wedding anniversary, and I play keyboards. Is it okay for me to play the Anniversary Waltz for my mum and dad? And they said, wow, do they know about it? I said, no, I want it to be a surprise. And they said, okay. So I was very shy, of course, hadn't been on stage or anything like that. So they said, okay, we'll introduce you after the break. You just walk on, you just play, and the drummer and the guitarist will follow you. And of course, your mum and dad will take to the dance floor, and away you go. Anyway, so I came on and I played. Because I'd been playing from such a young age, I was really, really good. And unbeknownst to me, there was a music agent in the audience. And so I played this. My mum and dad came on to dance, and they were crying and happy, and everybody else came on, and it was cute. And it was, oh, wow. So I finished, played a little bit more music. Everyone was dancing, and I came off the stage. And this guy came over to me, and he said, do you do any gigs? I said, no. I said, I just play for the love of music. I just enjoy it. And he said, I can get you 3 gigs a night to start, 3 gigs a week to start you off. And I said, not really. Now, bear in mind, I'm earning £7 a week. He said, I want you 3 nights and I'll pay you £40 a night. It was, what? What?
And by the way, you love doing it.
Yeah. So I thought, wow. So my dad came over and I explained what was happening, and I said, let me give that some thought. Okay. So I finished as a mechanical electrical engineer. I ended my apprenticeship and I became a professional musician. So what I was doing, I would sell organs, pianos and things during the day, and then the nighttime I'd work in nightclubs back in cabaret. In those days, if a singer wanted to sing on stage, they had to have live music. CD wasn't invented, backing tracks didn't exist. It had to be live. So that's what I did. So it was great. So I was fortunate that I was exposed to lots of famous people. So I was in demand as a session musician and things like this. So I got to meet some very successful people too. Now here's the bit. Here's where my life changed. I was selling organs and pianos in a store in Birmingham, which is the second largest city in England. And a guy comes into the shop and he parked outside in a black 911, Porsche 911 Carrera. He's like, oh, I'm a boy, it's cars, it's like, wow. So I see this car outside and the guy walks in. And he said, hey, how you doing? I said, yeah, I'm good, thank you. And he said, so, what's the best piece of kit you have in here? Now, at the time, let me put this into context. We lived in a council house, so we were renting it from the state, couldn't afford to buy it, and the cost was £2,000. That was the price of the house. So this guy said, what's the best piece of kit you've got? And I said, it's over here. And it was an organ keyboard made by Technics, price £4,000. That's double the price of the house I was living in. Now, I was lucky because I got to play it all day, every day for free. Well, I got paid to. So this guy said, okay, I'll buy it. And he said, but Jeff, I have a request. And I said, sure, what's your request? He said, it's Thursday now. I'd like you to deliver it to my home on Monday, and I'd like you to play it for me in my home, which is not an unusual request.
Really?
So, I said, okay. We also have a request. I can't do that until we have cleared funds. So as long as we have cleared funds, I'll deliver it for you on Monday. Okay, he said. This was the Thursday, so he goes away in his black 911. Whoa, and I'm going, wow. On the Saturday morning, he comes back into the store and he has a supermarket shopping bag, plastic carrier bag, and he tips it onto my desk. £4,000 in folding money. It's like, what's that? 7 like that. I'm like, I'd never seen anything like it ever. It's like, wow. So I put it in the safe. I say, okay, I'll call him Dave because that's his name. I said,
Sure, have it your own way.
So I said, Dave, I'll see you on Monday evening. It'll be about 7 p.m. Is that okay? And he said, perfect. I'll put on some food. I went, great. Excuse me one moment. Sorry about that. I'll put on some food. So then what happened? I picked up the phone and I called a friend who was in a neighbouring store because this piece of kit that he bought was quite large. It was a 2-man job. So I called my friend and I said, you'll never guess what's just happened. A guy's come into the store. He's bought this flagship model. He's paid in folding money and he wants me to deliver it on Monday. Do you want to come with me? He might have 2 daughters. So he said, yeah, I'll come give you a hand. So we went to this place and he had gated property with electric gates, a video phone. Now, Chris, this is 1978. This was like James Bond material, know. So I pressed the button on the wall, and the voice comes over. Yes, who is it? And so, Dave, it's I've got you. All right, and these electric gates open. I'm like, my goodness me! And there's this long driveway with a U-shaped house at the bottom. It's massive. So he opens the double doors, big oak double doors, and he said, come on through, bring it through to the east wing. I'm like, my goodness. I mean, can you imagine the state I'm in? I mean, we live in a state-owned home and we could barely afford to pay the rent. It's like, whew. And then as I put my right foot through the doorway onto the carpet, my foot sank into the carpet and I'd never experienced that before. It affected me so much, that's why I'm sharing it with you now. And this place was palatial. It was just fantastic. So I settled the keyboard in. We played him some stuff. He gave us some food, a little bit to drink. The bad news, he didn't have any daughters. But apart from that, we had a great evening. And I came away and I thought, wow, what is it that makes successful people successful? And I went home, I opened our front door, I put my foot onto the carpet and it was like treading on wood. It didn't sink. It was like, wow. And my dad was the manager of the largest machine shop in Europe. And he's responsible for bridges all over the world, the Thames Barrier, and a very, very clever guy.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, why is it my dad who's a very clever guy, had a hand in worldwide construction, the brains behind many solutions to make these work, and we have nothing. And then here's a guy drives my favorite car, the Porsche 911. He's got a huge house. Now he's got my favorite keyboard as well. And he was really old. He was about 45. Amazing what 18-year-olds think, huh? And that's when my journey really began. What is it that makes successful people successful? So because I was playing at nightclubs and back in cabaret, I was exposed to successful people and famous people the whole time. So I embarked upon a journey to ask them, what do you do in order to be successful, to be or have what you want? And I interviewed 325 millionaires because at that time, I attributed success to equal wealth, as you did at the beginning. How come we're not all multi-billionaires or millionaires? Yep. So I thought, I'm going to interview millionaires to find out how they do it. And what I formulated over that period, excuse me, a set of questions which I asked most of them. It evolved over that time, of course. Yes. And here's the interesting thing. They all do 11 things in common. Let me put it another way. There are 11 steps to success. Now, some of the people were consciously aware of what they were doing, and others were just blissfully unaware. They just did it, but not really aware of what they were doing or why, but they became successful. Millionaires, multimillionaires, call it what you will. So I thought, well, if I apply these 11 steps to my life, let's see what happens. And here we go. Failed at maths, failed at English, and the most successful author in history on a book about mathematics. So it is fascinating.
It works.
It absolutely works. So I formulated these 11 steps. In fact, this logo of mine here, I created the coat of arms, and it's coded with the 11 steps and the principles of success.
Wow.
And the reason I did that, I have 2 daughters. So the reason I did that, when my daughters leave home, I wanted to give them something so they can say, when they're in a difficult situation or contemplating something, what would my dad do? And I've created this image for them. And so it's coded with all of the secrets of success and how successful people think. So other people saw it, just thought it was a coat of arms and said, oh, I love your company logo. And then I thought, you know what? I think I will have it as my company logo. It wasn't at the time.
Right.
So that's what happened. Then it's a case of people will say, all right, can you tell me what the 11 steps are? That's your next question, isn't it, Chris?
Of course.
I can see that on your face.
All I have to do, 11 things, I'm there.
Okay. So what I discovered later on, and I will come on to the 11 steps. What I discovered later on is success does not equal money. All money is virtual. So success can be equal to anything you want in your life, anything. What's fascinating, the 11 steps apply to that. Whatever you want in your life, you apply these 11 steps, it happens. It even happened to the timing of the birth of our 2 daughters, to the day. Can you believe it?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, absolutely. So once I have had it all sorted in my mind, obviously I shared it all with my wife, and then she was thinking about when she wanted the baby to be born. And I said, well, be careful what you think about and on all of this, because you know what happens. Yeah, 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 she said. And then both times it happened.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's, I mean, birthing of babies, I would think most people would say that's outside the realm of what you can do with your
Of
mind or
influence. Sure.
yeah, yeah.
Sure. Now, you might say it's coincidence. You could put all of it down to luck, but I just think we make our own luck. Luck means something happened that you didn't expect. That's it.
Unluck is not replicatable, right? You
No,
can't teach
absolutely not.
someone how to be lucky. So it's
No.
not very helpful if you
Yeah,
just
but
put everything down to luck, bad or good, right?
yeah, yeah. So I guess we should talk about key performance indicators, but also success. So let me just backtrack on your introduction and first questions. So KPI, some people might be thinking, KPI, what does that mean? I've never heard of it. What's it all about? KPI is key performance indicators. So they are measurements and they exist in all of our life, but predominantly in our business life. So we can ask questions about where are we, where do we want to be, and how are we doing on our journey in getting there. So in many cases, they're mathematical equations that get us to look. So I can't turn that off, unfortunately.
It's okay.
Okay, there we
The
go.
editor
Sorry.
can turn it off.
Yeah. Okay. So so that's what key performance indicators are, and they're called KPI. So what I'm going to share with you now are some key performance indicators that are evident, or what I've created to explain the formula for success. Would you like to see that?
I would like to.
Okay, let me just change scene then. Here we go. So, what is success? It could be multi-billions, it could be millions, it could be whatever you want it to be. So, the dictionary definition is the accomplishment of an aim or a purpose, whatever that might be. Is there a formula? That's what you want to know, Chris, right? Here's the good news. Yes, there is a formula. Here's the better news. I'm going to share it with you. Are you ready for this journey? Right. I've developed a system for understanding how key performance indicators work at their most effective range. And that is when they work in harmony with each other, not just alone. And what I've done in this presentation that you can see is pull three key performance indicators together, show you how they work together, and then it will all make sense at the end. Hopefully, that's the plan. So the pyramids of power then is a system based on a pyramid. So we have three sectors, sector A, sector B, and sector C. It doesn't matter what they are, it's just understanding where they are, that's all. And the relationship between them, A divided by B will equal C. This is how the pyramid works. A divided by C, excuse me, will equal B. And then B multiplied by C equals A. Now the thing is, you can't break these links. And that's the key with using the correct key performance indicators. You can't just throw any in. You have to find the ones that relate to each other. So just to give you some easy maths, if the result from A was 21 and the result from B is 3, then 21 divided by 3 equals 7. There you go. 21 divided by 7 equals 3. 3 times 7, 21. So it's about how they relate to each other. So let's take that forward then and look at the science of success. So we're going to use those 3 magic letters, K, P, and I. And normally they stand for key performance indicators. But right now, for you, Chris, they mean something else completely. So K in this case means knowledge. So what we're going to look at is how much do you know about a subject. It's not a test, don't worry. So the subject being what it is that you want to achieve. And then the P is the probability percentage. In other words, this is going to calculate live on screen your chances of achieving success in any given area. Okay, and then the bottom on the I, in this case, is your implementation. So what we're going to do is bring some numbers in down here. So we know there are 11 steps to success. So I've put in here success components as 11. Now, you could pick any project for this, and the success components might be 20, there could be 40, there could be 53. It doesn't matter. But for today's example, we're going to use 11. So let's say this represents the 11 steps of success. So the next slider down is your knowledge and know-how. So it says, of those 11 steps, how many do you know and how many do you know how to do? Okay, so if we look down here, we can say, well, we know 3 of the 11. So 3 divided by 11, express that as a percentage. So your knowledge KPI would be 27.27%. Now what that means is of the subject matter that I need to know, I know and know how to apply 27% of it. Okay, so 3 just happens to be 27% of 11, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so implementation, we haven't done anything yet. So we know there are 11 steps. I know 3 of them, but I haven't, of the 3, I've not taken any action. So my implementation percentage is going to be 0 because I've not done anything, right? So let's put it in there. There's 0. So our chances of success then,
not good.
It's 0 because 27.27 multiplied by 0 equals 0.
Oh.
Yeah, so that means you might know some stuff, but if you don't do some stuff, you're not going to get anywhere. Now, here's where the magic happens now, because this model is live. So let's say then that I've given you 3 steps, you know what they are. What would you then do, Chris? Would you ask me for the balance, or would you get on and take action on the 3 that you've done?
Well, I'll tell you what I would do, and it might be a flaw of my character, but I would probably at least start marching without having all the information.
No, it's not a flaw. Let me show you why. So let's say I've given you step 1, step 2, and step 3. And you say, right, I'm going to take action on step 1, step 2, step 3. So now I'm going to go down here. And I'm going to increase your implementation from 0 to 1. Now look what happened now.
Wow.
So you've got 3 items of which you've done 1. So your implementation is a third, 33%, right? But it multiplies by your knowledge factor. So your chances of success now have gone from 0 to 9%. So when you then do the second step and you implement that, your implementation doubles, and so does your chances of success. So then we do the third thing. Great. So our implementation is 100%. So we know 27% of what we should do, and I've implemented everything. Now, I want you to understand what happens in life now. We can't implement anymore.
Right.
Because we don't know what the fourth step is.
Right.
So what we have to do in life is understand where we are. So what is it we need to know? Do I know? How many lessons do I need to get? And am I implementing? And the thing is here, you can't implement what you don't know.
Right.
So at this point, you'd have to say, I need to get more information now. I need some more steps. Now, where do you get those steps from? So if it's the 11 steps of success, you just ask me. But if it's about if it's about anything else in life, whatever it might be, whatever you want to achieve success in, you might need a mentor, you might need to go on a training course. But what this is showing is you need to go get some more information. So what we then do is increase the knowledge percentage. So I'm going to do that here now. So we know 3 steps, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll move it up to 8. So that means we now have 72% of the knowledge that we need. Fantastic. What do we need to do now?
We need to implement it.
We do. And that's the mistake that most people make, Chris. Because they don't implement. They think, right, this
Analysis
is fascinating. Yeah, absolutely. I need to know more. I need to do another training course. I need to buy another program. I need to immerse myself in this. And what happens? Let me show you. They then increase their knowledge. Dan. Oh, this is so good. So I know everything about it now. I've got 11 more steps. Now I want to know even more because there's some principles behind it, right? Yes, there are. Wow. And this is what most people do. But your chances of success have not moved at all because you've not implemented. So you're better to chunk the knowledge that you need. So let's move that back. Let's move that back to, let's say, 8. And now we need to implement these new things. So when we implement, your probability, your chances of success, look what happens. Look what happens now. Now your chances of success increase. So now you've got to the state again, well, I've implemented, but I'm now at another state where I need to go get more information. So then you go get more information and you build your knowledge. And then you have to think, right, now I've got 72% probability of my dreams coming true. So what this is the formula for success, and it's about understanding when to get your knowledge, when to implement, and how these 3 key performance indicators work together. So let me just take you to the next part, if I may. The formula for success is the bottom of the pyramid. It's knowing what to do and how to do it, multiplied by implementation. Knowing is not enough. I've heard that so many times. Francis Bacon said, knowledge is power. No, knowledge is not power. So
Potential power.
It's not even that. It's just knowledge. So if we have a look at these 3 key performance indicators and look at the bottom, there is the science of success. It's your knowledge percentage of what you want multiplied by how much of it you've done and taken action. They multiply. And that gives you your probability, your chances of success. Failure, understanding failure. Many people fail in life because, why do you think, Chris?
Failure to launch, failure to act.
Okay, so they have lots of knowledge and they fail to launch, they fail to act. See, they know what to do, but they don't do what they know. And I've seen this so many times, and people just clamber and clamber for more and more information, and their knowledge percentage just keeps on increasing.
Yeah.
So what we don't want is this scenario. There
You
are
know
11
everything,
steps.
you've done nothing.
I know everything. You've got it. I know everything and I've done nothing. Okay. So knowledge without action is merely trivia. You probably do well in a pub quiz, but you won't get what it is that you want, even if that's being a millionaire.
Yeah.
So
But I think, but I don't want to, we can also kind of turn it around though, because if we don't know what our goal is, then we don't know what knowledge to acquire, and we don't know what action to take.
absolutely right. Guess what step 1 of the 11 steps is?
Make a goal.
It's to know what you want. So I want to talk. So know what to do, then do what you know. But first, you must absolutely know what you want.
Yeah.
Right? Did that make sense so far?
Perfect sense. Yeah.
Right. Step 1 of the 11 steps. What do you want? I would like you really to consider this. And I'm not going to ask you now. This is the open question for you and our viewers and listeners to consider. I would say about 97% of people in the world don't know what they want. Let me give you an explanation. Your opening question: how come we're not multi-billionaires or even millionaires at release, right? It's the vagueness of it. And that's what I get when people come to me. I say, what do you want? And they say, I want to have more money. I'll put my hand in my pocket, I'll give them a dollar bill, and I'll say, I've just made all your dreams come true. And they say, oh, no, I want more than that. And I said, but that's not what you asked for.
Right.
All you asked for more money, and you got what you asked for. And here's the thing. We're asking the universe for our goals, right? What that is, I don't know. I'm not going to put any religious connotations on it or anything. I'll just call it the universe. Now, in order for the universe to give you what you want, you have to be very precise in telling the universe what you want and also when you want it. Most people can't do that. They come out with a phrase like, more money. Now, what do successful people do? They'll say something to the order of, I want $1 million cash in my bank account. I want to pull out my bank statement and see it written there at midday, June the 9th, 2022. That's the difference between being precise with goals and just having a mere wish list.
And that's what's missing from this, which I have right on my keyboard, which is one of my goals.
Yeah.
I look at every day, but
Yeah.
it doesn't have a time on it.
No time on it. And how do you want the $10,000 to be? Is that cash? Because people can give you favors in kind to the value of $10,000.
I better put cash because I have passive income, but I didn't. I don't have. Where I just do with my pen, but I don't have cash and I don't have a time on here. Oh, look at that! It's the magic how we've just 10x'd my possibilities for success here.
Yeah.
Cash by 12/31/21. Beautiful.
Okay. So be absolutely specific. And how frequently is that going to happen?
Well, this is what I have.
How frequently are you going to look and check? So I remember when I did my goal for my first book, having never written a book, it took me quite a long time, and I'm talking a few months, to get my clarity right. And I ended up writing probably about 100 words because the clarity just gets deeper and deeper and deeper. What's fascinating, that was more than 20 years ago now. I wish I'd kept it. I didn't. But I can remember some of the things on there that still happen today. So I said, I'm right. I've written a book, so it must be written in a way that it's already been achieved. If you say, I want this at some point in the future, without any definiteness, your brain can't comprehend it. So I have written a book, people hold it, and they say how easy it is to read, how easy the font is to read. They enjoy the writing. And I put and people today still say, oh, Jeff, I love your books. They're so easy to read. I can hold it in one hand. It's always with me. It's always in my, and I smile like you because I'd written it down on my goal over 20 years ago. It's incredible. But you have to be that specific. So a tiny goal on a post-it note is nowhere near close enough because there's so much ambiguity there.
Yeah.
Then the other thing is people focus on what they don't want rather than what they do want. And our brain cannot comprehend the negative. I don't mean I am a positive thinker or a negative thinker. Our brain cannot comprehend what we don't want. And it works in exactly the same as Google. That's how our brain works. That's how the universe works. Can I give you a live example?
Absolutely.
Right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring up, I'm going to share screen if I may.
Do I have to give you permission?
Okay. Yes, you do, please.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, try now.
Okay, we're on. We're good to go. Right. Okay, so this is the homepage for Google. You can see that?
Yes.
Okay. So this is how your brain works. This is how the universe works. And it's also how Google works. So if I say to you now, Chris, don't think of a pink elephant, what do you do?
Yeah, you have to immediately think of a pink elephant.
Okay. Let me give you a live demo. Do not show me a red car. You can see that?
Yep.
So I'm going to press into Google, do not show me a red car. Now look what's come up.
All these red cars, a whole big long list of red cars.
So let me give you the logic behind that, because this is what our brain does as well. So if I was to say to you, don't give me this, don't give me that, you would reply and say, okay, then what do you want?
Exactly.
Whereas our brain works the same as Google. So I've just typed in here, do not show me a red car, and Google didn't come back and say,
well, what do you want?
Okay, so what do you want instead? So it ignores the negative, as in do not.
Right.
And that's what our brain does.
Yep.
So when we think, oh, I hope something like this doesn't happen. I hope I don't meet Chris and have an argument with her. Guess what's going to happen?
We're going to have an argument.
Our brain cannot comprehend the negative. And so therefore, we have to be very, very careful of the choice of our language, our self-talk. And what we have to do, and this is critical for writing down your goals, because you have to say exactly what you want with zero ambiguity. Otherwise, this happens. What we're seeing here on Google.
Images for do not show me a red car. 4 red cars right in a row.
Yeah, if we go on images, look at this.
Oh.
All you're going to get is images because, and here's the
red
thing,
cars.
you know, yeah.
And a couple blue ones.
Yeah, sure. I'll share something with you now on my coat of arms, my logo here. So this is my logo. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, along the bottom here, there's some Latin, and the Latin says conceive, believe, achieve.
Achieve. Napoleon
Yeah,
Hill.
Napoleon Hill. What the human mind can conceive and believe, it can
And
achieve.
achieve. Yep.
Now, my version of that is we become what we think about. Do not show me a red car.
Right.
You're going to
Right.
get red cars because that's what you're thinking about.
Exactly.
So when we're looking at the science and the principles of success, step one, most people can't do because you have to be absolutely specific with zero ambiguity and know what you want. So you've got some work to do on your post-it note now.
I certainly do. Thank you very much. I can't wait. I do this when I take my walk on the beach every morning. I say to myself, like, what I like most about being rich. I love having a house cleaner. I love to come home and the house is all clean and someone else did that for me. And I love having an assistant who takes care, makes sure I never forget anybody's birthday, like really into that kind of detail, but none of
But
it's written down.
you see, there's no detail there, though, Chris. There's not enough detail because I like being rich. Okay, what does rich mean?
Well, that's where the $10,000 a week in passive income. I mean, for that, I can do anything that I want to do. No doubt it
Okay,
would increase. I feel like once I would achieve that, I would have a new goal.
okay.
But
So it's not being rich. It's having $10,000 per week every week from passive income coming into your bank account in credit card transactions. You've really got to be
right,
as specific as that. And when you get $10,000 per week every week, I'll share something else with you. That's all you'll get. You won't get any more.
so how can I
So
make it like an unlimited amount of
it
like,
won't be an unlimited amount because now you're non-specific,
right,
aren't you?
exactly. What can I do, Jeff? What's the answer?
Well, you have to know what you want. So if you want $20,000 a week, then that's your goal, $20,000. Because what will happen, you'll get to the $10,000, and then here's one of the other principles of, let me say, being wealthy. Wealthy people don't spend the principal. You must invest the principal and let it do all the work for you.
Right.
It's about delayed gratification. And the reason my dad was broke, he had zero, he would earn $10 and spend 12.
Yeah.
That was the secret to most people being broke.
Yeah.
And I only realized that when I was 23. I had another wake-up call, actually.
Yeah.
And then I didn't start in business for myself until I was 39, which some might say is quite late. So I started off with huge debt and then wiped it all out, came good.
Yeah.
But I got what I asked for, and then so life. And then the other thing is people will ask for this stuff, and here's an important one. The price of success must be paid in full and in advance.
What is the price?
Yeah. So if you want $10,000 a week in passive income, what are you doing to make that happen? Are you giving $10,000 worth of absolute value to the people who come across you every single week? Because that's what you have to do first.
Right.
Because it's only in the dictionary where success comes before work.
Right.
Doesn't happen anywhere else. And I see lots of people, I want this, I want that. And I say, okay, you must be prepared to pay the price. Right. What do you have to do? And not only what do you have to do, what do you have to give up to make that happen? And one of the most important things, you have to have the right support group.
Yeah.
And if the people around you don't buy into your goal, so everybody will buy into $10,000 a week, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know what you have to do to earn $10,000 a week. And you have to have everyone around you buying into what you're doing. The $10,000 is just the byproduct of what you're doing.
Right.
And if you're doing something and people around you are not aligned on that, two things will happen. One of two. You'll either lose all those people from your life or you won't achieve your goal. Most people are not prepared to pay that price.
Interesting. So do you feel that those people that we have to make those people go away, or are they just going to kind of lose interest in hanging out with us because they don't like where we're going?
Maybe both.
Yeah.
Depends who they are.
Yeah.
But if you don't have the right support group, forget it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, right, who says this? We are the sum total. You'll be the same as you are today, except for the people you meet and the books you read. Is that Charlie Tremendous Jones? Who says that?
Yeah. Yeah. We are the product of our life's experiences.
Mm-hmm.
We're born with two fears, one of loud noises and one of falling. Everything else is conditioned.
Interesting.
The fear of failure is the fear of the unknown. Once we know what it is, we don't have to fear it. And what I've given you with that pyramid of power is the gateway to start working out what do you need to know and what do you need to do. Once you have those two components, there's nothing to fear unless you're not prepared to pay the price. Then change your goal to something else that you are prepared to pay.
Yeah.
That may or may not be worth $10,000 a week.
Interesting. I like the specificity that you put in your first book. Do you feel like it's okay? Does it work if I do that for, like, if I have a big, long, beautiful intention about what's going to how people are going to receive my book, and then I have another big, long, beautiful, story about how the money is coming into my bank account, and then there's a whole nother one for my relationships. I mean, is that okay, or is that sort of divert your focus?
Okay. So let me ask you a question, if I may, Chris, because we don't know each other, right?
Right.
Are you writing a book?
I've already written it.
Great. Is this where your $10,000 per week in passive income is coming from, or part of it at least?
Well, at the moment, all it's doing is lining the walls of my garage. But that would be, yeah, I mean, why not, right? I mean,
Sure.
why not? What do I want to? I don't need
So,
anything to decorate my garage.
okay. Tell me about your book.
I've written a book called Empower Your Inner Millionaire, A Woman's Guide to Financial Independence Through Real Estate Investing.
Real estate investing. Okay, cool.
I'm a real estate agent in my day job.
Okay, I get that.
And I'm also an investor as well.
Okay. So why do you think the books are in your garage and not in my hands?
Well, see, that's an interesting question. I think when I wrote the book, which was 3 years ago now, that I was, feeling like I shouldn't be selling that book because I'm not already a millionaire. So maybe I should have titled it something different. How to create a very comfortable passive income stream through real estate investing. So yeah, I think I just wasn't, but now, when I look back and I read the book, I'm like, this is a good book. It's a good book. It's written really well. It's very well laid out. There's lots of examples. There's like some stories and stuff. And it is a good book.
Okay. So how much is it?
$32.
That's all. Wow. So I could be a millionaire from real estate investment, and I can start my journey with just $32. That will give me all of the steps that I need. So we've seen the pyramids of power. And then once I have the knowledge, all I have to do then is start gradually implementing. Yeah. So my knowledge multiplied by my implementation will deliver. Okay. Let me talk to you about your book, if I may.
Please.
You've done it backwards. Perhaps what you ought to have done, rather than write a book and then decide how to sell it, is first decide how to sell it and then write it. And that's what I did with mine. Because what it does, it really focuses your mind as a writer on what people want from you, not what you want to give them. So you've written a book from your perspective, and you've got to the end of the journey, and I bet your goal at the time was to write the book. Yeah.
Yes.
And look what happened. You've written the book. Hurrah. But now you realize that wasn't the goal at all, was it?
No.
So you see what's happened? Do you understand what's happened and why they're all sitting in your garage?
Yep. I achieved my goal of writing the book.
Yep. There you are.
Yep. Clarity.
But that wasn't the goal.
Right.
You thought it was, but that was not the goal. So your goal, going back a few years, before you even wrote a word, was people will own this book and take great joy in holding it. These are the things people will say. And then you write down, what will people think and say when they're reading your book? And they will be happy. They'll want to contact me, and they'll want to buy the next book and more things to help them grow. And from that, by XYZ date, my passive income will be $10,000 a week. So you've got what you asked for. You've got a book.
Yep. It's great that we're having this conversation, Jeff, because I have a draft of another book that I've had for 2 years. And I don't even want to work on it. I'm just like, oh, I don't need any more group books in my freaking garage, you know? But you've given me a whole nother way to look at it. Because in reality, I didn't actually write the book to write a book. I wrote the book because I really legitimately want to see people to embrace real estate and see how beautiful that life is, how fun, and how, you know, how there is a way for everybody to create at the minimum some type of money to ease your, you know, financial burden through real estate. And it's, you know, it's easy and it's fun and it's, you know, it's creative. And I want people to be excited about it. You know, I want people to be for their lives to be simpler, because they don't have to wonder, how am I going to pay my mortgage? Where's my next meal coming from? You know?
Okay. Chris, I want you to do me a huge favor, please. Will you?
Yes.
Put a marker on this video, rewind it 1 minute, and I want you to watch your passion change and understand everything that you said, because it's nothing to do with the book.
Right.
The book is merely the conduit to make those things happen. So go back and watch this video and watch yourself. You just transformed. It was like, wow. And I thought, I'm just going to sit back and watch and be quiet here. So go back and watch it, learn those lessons, and that's what you're selling. You're not selling a book. That's what you're selling.
Yes. Thank you, Jeff. Wow, that is so powerful. I can't believe that. You know, this is like brings me to the part of the podcast where I say, you know, I'm really glad people are listening, but this is 100% for me.
I'll share another story with you. I have a very dear friend. His name is Dave Crane. He's a BBC trained journalist. he's a public speaker, and he teaches people to speak. So he created a brand called Speak on Stage, and he was writing a book. In fact, you can go find him on speakonstage.com. And I was speaking with him probably about a year ago, and he said, "Jeff, I'm writing another book." I said, "Another one?" He said, "Yeah, my last one didn't sell." So you know the conversation that took place then. So I said, "Dave, who's going to buy your book? And who are you going to help on the next part of their journey?" Because he does mentoring and training, which is awesome. So he said, "Industry icons. I want to get CEOs, and I want to get them to communicate better with their workforce." And he said, "So I've got this stunning program called Speak on Stage, and I'm going to teach them to speak on stage. They'll know how to do this, and they'll just be great with their workforce." And I said, "Dave, can I speak with you?" He said, "Yes, of course." I said, "CEOs don't want to speak on stage. CEOs want to do all of the things that you just said. They want to be able to make a speech to their workforce. They want to communicate like, wow, and they want to be more effective leaders. And that's the offer that you're giving them. None of them want to speak on stage. So you need to change the positioning and change the title." Thankfully, my friend Dave Crane is just about to finish his book and that program. And it has completely changed his view on things. And I'm sharing that story because that's where you are, Chris. And I can see it within you. So think about what people want from you and give them what they want, not what you want to give them.
Interesting. That is so powerful, Jeff. Do you realize how you're like helping people to share themselves in such a much more effective way, and just like to like flip and at the way we look at things and think about things?
Well, I do mentoring as well, because for you it's a book, but there are other projects that people are involved in, and they become like fish swimming around looking for water. They get so close to what they're doing, they just lose sight of it. So that's what I have mentorship programs for. Mm-hmm. So there you go. I hope now you can refocus, remotivate on your new book, and think about not as a book, but as this is the knowledge people want and need from you. The book is just one of the mechanisms in how you provide it for them.
Beautiful. Thank you. So Jeff, do we know that we don't know yet what the 11 steps are, right? We haven't. We know that we have to know what we want.
Okay. So step 1 is to know what you want. Step 2 is to write it down with clarity. Mm. There's no point giving you step 3. And until you do that, you'll end up with another book.
Another shelf. I can put some more shelves in my garage.
Yeah, I'm going to share with you this image again, if I may. Okay, so you see this image?
Yes.
Okay, let me just expand it for you. There we go. So there are a number of things on here. Can you see my mouse moving on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the book here. So it's not an ordinary book. It is, of course, a journal. And you write down your goal with as much clarity as possible. And then these 3 tabs on the side here is review, react, revise. Because once you've written your goal, that's not the end of it. Tomorrow, you'll have more clarity. You'll be clearer. And so then you'll rewrite your goal. You'll revise it. And then you'll react. As for me, it was months, absolute months. And it was part of me implementing that gave me the clarity to review, react, and revise on my own goal. So don't just write it down, pop it on a post-it note onto your computer and you think, that's it, we're done. I'm going to be a millionaire.
Interesting. Okay. So review, revise, and react.
Yeah. Review, react, revise.
Oh, react. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's review it, implement, and then revise it. Because the chances of getting everything right first time are 0. So believe that, because that will give you the hunger and the thirst to want to revise, to want to get more clarity.
So Jeff, I'm sure, I haven't looked at my clock, but I'm sure that our time together must be coming to an end. Oh yeah.
I'm sure it has. I've talked an awful lot, haven't
we've
I?
expired already. So,
Yeah.
So just, I want to just thank you so much. I can't,
My pleasure.
I will let you know how much this has, once you'll see, you'll read about me in the paper and you'll be like, oh my God, isn't that person whose podcast I was on? Now here she is. She's speaking in London on the main stage.
I would be devastated if that happened.
Why?
I would hope that you call me and tell me before I read it in a newspaper.
Of course I will. Of course I will. So, and I'll say, look, open the paper, Jeff. Open the paper. I'm on the page 1 of the Times.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be great? Yeah. Yeah. But if fame and fortune is what you want, that's a very different thing from wanting to write a book. You understand the difference between the two now, don't you?
Yes.
Writing a book doesn't bring you anything.
Right.
I've helped 39 people write books. And when we have the initial meeting, I say, you know what happens when you write a book? Nothing. And it's like, your role here is not to write a book. Your role is much greater than that. It's just that writing the book is just the conduit.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, I have lots of things in my mind, all my, an online course that I'm working on, and lots of.
So when will that be finished? When will that be finished?
Well, our initial goal was mid-September, and I say that because the scope has changed. It's got bigger.
Of course it will, and you will never finish it. You know why?
Because
why? You are not specific.
Wasn't specific.
Yeah.
Well, now I think what I will do, I am going to spend time each evening defining exactly the course, how it's received, who enjoys it.
Right. Let me rewind.
Okay.
How much time are you going to spend doing it? And at what time of day are you going to sit down and do that?
Well, do you think it's morning or evening is better?
Entirely up to you. For me, it's between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. That's how painful is that? It's just not good, is it? So I go to bed, and I go to bed if I'm needing something from the universe. I ask, how can I do this? How can I make this clearer? And that's where the pyramids of power came from. How can I explain this concept? And I went to bed, 2 a.m. Boom! It was given to me. Yeah. And I woke up and I did it. And that's what you must do. You must act when the universe gives you information. Yeah. Otherwise, the universe gives you information, you don't do anything. Gives you a bit more, you don't do anything. And next time they go, yeah, I keep giving you stuff and you don't do anything with it, so I'm not going to give you any more. That happens. I don't know how it works. I don't know why it works. all I know, it works.
So I'll do it at I'll do it at 4:30 each morning, and I'll write for at least a half hour each morning, starting at 4:30.
Yeah. So when I'm writing a book, my commitment is to write at least one paragraph per day.
Mhm.
Because sometimes my record for writing, I wrote 8,000 words one day. There can be other days when I can't write anything. I'll write 1,000 words and it'll end up in the garbage. But you learn by doing that.
Well, and some days you're more tuned into that voice as well, right?
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, okay. So this is what I will ask you for, Jeff,
Sure.
for the folks who are listening. I've already got what I need. And I thank you so much. And I'm incredibly grateful to you.
Oh,
Can,
it's my pleasure.
can we give folks 3 action items that they should take today to allow them to begin on this journey to finding the clarity and the success that they wish and want in life?
Okay. Step 1 is be very, very clear about what you want. You have to know what you want. If you can't ask the universe without any ambiguity, the universe can't give it to you. Ask, it will deliver. Not whinge, whine, and complain, and it will deliver. But you
Work.
must be very specific. You wouldn't go into a restaurant and say, "Can I have a meal, please?" And that's what people do when setting their goals.
Yeah.
So think about it in that context.
Yeah.
Whatever you order is going to come onto your plate.
Yeah.
So you wanted to write a book. You've got a book. There you are.
Right.
The universe delivered.
Right. I didn't want the gravy on that. I need to be a little more specific about what I ordered.
Yes. So that's point 1. Be specific about what you want. Number 2, write it down. I don't mean type it on your PC. I mean write it down.
Long
Pen
hand.
and ink. There's something about physically writing that has a better connection with your brain.
Yeah.
The chances of you getting the clarity right first time is pretty much 0. Maybe you're the lucky one who gets it right. I don't know. But write it down and then write it down again the next day and write it down every day for at least 30 days. Now, what will happen over those 30 days as you become more in tune with what you want, what you need to do, and why you're doing it? That's where your clarity comes from. Because we become what we think about. So the more clarity you can have on your goal and what you think about, the greater the top of the pyramid, your potential, your propensity, your chances of success, the greater it will be. So don't get hooked up in learning stuff. Knowledge without action is merely trivia. And that's my 3rd point. Learn stuff, implement. Learn some more stuff, implement that. Learn some more stuff and implement that.
Cool. So
So
those
there's your 3 tips.
that's 3 beautiful action items. So listeners, if you don't, I'll write this down in the show notes so that you don't have to write it down if you're driving, but those are your 3 action items, right? So Jeff has just given you a key to at least get started on your journey to figuring out what you want and figuring out how to get it. Is you're going to be crystal clear about what you want. And that's going to take some time, and it's going to take some reflection. You heard how Jeff corrected me on, that's not enough. That's not enough. It's not clear enough. You just go in, and I'll tell you a story. I was in Nashville, Tennessee, and I ordered my meal. And for a side order, I got corn on the cob. And when the mail came, I said, there's no corn. And the folks still with me said, well, yeah, it's right there. And I'm like, no, there's no corn on my dish. It turned out that they had dipped the corn in batter and deep fried it. And I thought, okay, right, was not clear enough.
That's not what I asked for.
That's what I asked for, but I had no idea it existed. So we want to be crystal clear about what we want, right? As if so a 4-year-old can understand it. And then we want to write it down longhand every day and revise it every day for at least 30 days. And then when you feel like you know precisely what you want, how you're going to get it, what you're going to deliver to have that arrive, then, and only then, do you go out and find some knowledge. Not all the knowledge that exists in the universe.
Okay, I'm going to backtrack on one thing that you said there.
Okay, good. Thank you.
It was all absolutely correct apart from one word.
Okay.
How. Do not concern yourself with the how.
Okay.
Because a lot of stuff that you're probably going to get involved with probably hasn't been invented yet. My kids go to school. What shall I be when I grow up? And I said, well, half of what you could be is not even invented yet. So why worry? Don't worry about the how. Just work on your passion. So in writing your goals, what you said, be clear. That's it. Do not worry about the how. The how will come. And it's worrying about the how that prevents people from taking action and moving forward later on. Because they have these big goals and dreams and they think, well, I don't know how, therefore I don't believe, therefore it's never going to happen. So don't concern yourself with the how. Leave that up to your mentor that's coming along the way, and they come.
So then when we look at the step 3, which is to learn something so that we can implement something that we learn. I'm just moving my computer because I'm running out of battery. How do we know what to learn? Is our mentor, is that just going to kind of be revealed sort of as we get clarity on what it is exactly that we want?
Yeah.
Okay,
that can be part of your goal. I want to meet the right person that can help me to achieve this.
Excellent.
And they will come. They will come.
And I do feel like I've done a lot of homework on this, and I have a lot more clarity than I have ever had in my life. So it's perfect that you've arrived on this day, Jeff, because you have you're the mentor that I needed today.
You must have been asking the universe.
I must have been, and I was.
That's how these things happen. So if anybody else wants to chat, I'm happy to have a chat. My website, www.jeff-smith.com, and that's JEFF-smith.com. There's a page on there where you can hook up on Zoom like we are now with Chris, and then we can have a chat about your goals, dreams, and aspirations and see where you are in life.
And you should 100% do that, because as you could hear from this wonderful session that I've had with Jeff, he's a gold mine. He's just absolutely going to ask you the question that you need to have asked so that you can get some clarity in your vision. Thank you so much, Jeff.
Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure and delight speaking with you today.
The pleasure has 100% been mine. And I hope, listener, that you are feeling the exact same way, that Jeff has just been like, boom, opened up a whole nother part of your brain you didn't know you have.
That's wonderful. It's been a delight. Thank you, Chris.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And thanks, listener, for listening. Don't forget that there's someone else Remember that there's someone else who can benefit from this. And why not share with them and be a hero to them for today? And tune in next week when we have somebody who I don't know yet. She'll teach you something else that I also don't know yet. Oops. That's not what I want to do. I was going to end the meeting. I just want to end